In this video, we're going to cover off the costs associated with living in Pickering, Ontario, and we're getting into it right after this. Hey, what's going on? My name is Brad Goetz with Right at Home Realty, and I'm a local realtor here in the Durham region. If it is your first time to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell. That way you're notified each and every time I do post a new video. In this video, I'm going to be covering off the costs associated with living in Pickering and what it's like and what it's going to cost to eat, sleep, play, live, work, everything right here. I have people reaching out from all over the world and different parts of the GTA that are looking to move to Pickering, Oshawa, Whitby, and I absolutely love it. So if you are looking at relocating here, you can call, text, email, send the carrier pigeon, whatever is easiest for you, and I'm here to make your move and relocation go so much easier. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So our first topic is going to be housing costs. So typically when you're moving to a new city, that's going to be your major expense. So let's start with that. Pickering, as of August 7th, 2020, the average house price was about $827,000. So if you want to see how that compares with the rest of Canada, GTA, even Ontario, we'll get to those numbers. But one thing that I do have to disclose is at the time of filming, the Canadian Real Estate Association hadn't updated the stats for Canada and Ontario. So what I've done to put it on an even playing field, the average house price as of August of 2020 was $827,000, but it was actually about $100,000 less as of June of 2020. So I'm going to give these numbers based on how it compares to June of 2020. So Pickering sat at $233,000 above the Canadian average. It was about $93,000 above the provincial average. It was about $91,000 below the GTA average. And it sat at about $86,000 above the Durham average. So I always like to show where I get my numbers from. So let's jump to the screen and I will show you where I get my information from. So this is the Canadian Real Estate Association website. Anybody can go on here and confirm all this information for themselves or check it out monthly to see how Canada is doing as a whole. So as of June of 2020, the average house price that had been recorded sold in Canada was about $538,000. And then if you jump to here, you can switch to what you want to compare it to. So for here, we will compare it to Ontario. So the average Ontario house price as of June 2020 sat at about $678,000. And then if you want to dig deeper and cover, how Durham was as a whole, you go to the Durham Real Estate Association website, which is durhamrealestate.org. And then here you just have housing reports. You click on that and then it gives you kind of month by month, so you can pull up on June because that's the most recent that they have at this point, and you scroll down and it shows you that the average selling price in Durham as a whole was $685,000, and then you go down in Pickering sat at about $772,000. So that kind of sits where the housing pricing were in the Durham region. And so yeah, the average two-bedroom condo rent price in Pickering sat at about $2,125. That is about $600 below the GTA average and about $150 above the Durham region average. If you're looking for more of like a 3 to 4 bedroom detached type home, depending on the size and age, you'd be looking at between $2,200 or $3,000 depending on the type of house. So our next item would be like cost of meals and food and restaurants. So there are so many options that you have really to pick from. You have your big chains, which are national brands that are in Canada, US, but then you have a lot of actual smaller one-of-a-kind type locations. And due to the amount of different options, the average cost of a meal for two in Pickering sits at about $55 or so. So that would be like a typical 3-course meal for 2 people. And you add on some beverages, you sit at about $70. So it's not much different from the GTA as a whole. Now, I always try and give shout outs to restaurants that I like to go to within Pickering. And so I live in Whitby, and every time I'm feeling like the West Indian or the island type food, I go to a place. It's called Island Mix Restaurant and Lounge. It's located on Brock Road, just south of the 401. And it's an amazing place. If you're going to go there, I recommend getting the pepper beef and the crispy noodle chow mein. It's amazing, and that combination between them is great. Now, they have a ton of other things, but that's kind of like my go-to that I kind of get there. But you can't go wrong with most of their menu items, and the pricing is pretty reasonable, and food quality and quantity is both good. So our next topic would be property taxes. So the Durham tax rates are always high, and it's just because of the amount of land that's still available that hasn't really been developed. So it's not as congested as different parts of the GTA. So the tax rate for Pickering as of 2020 July, so this is what the tax rate would be for 2020, is 1.06%. And that includes the city portion, the regional portion, which would be like the Durham region. And then it also includes the part that goes towards the education, the schools and such like that. It's actually down from 2019 as a percentage. So 2019's Pickering rate was 1.10%, and I guess it's a wash. It's probably still increased because house values have gone up. So the tax rate has come down, but the house values have gone up. So that kind of does affect things. Our next item is insurance costs. So all this information is going to be complements of the Kinetics Insura map. It's my go-to map whenever I need information on average insurance costs. So one thing I did like about Durham when I moved here is I saved a ton of money. I came from Brampton, which is, you'll see on the map, it's labeled as red. And then I moved to the Durham region where most of it's kind of green, and you'll see different colors in there as well. So let's jump on to the Insura map, and then you can kind of see the different insurance rates within Pickering as a whole. Okay, so you see here, so this is all of Canada really. And then most of it's green. So like if you're in the outskirts, your insurance rates are going to be dirt cheap, in and around like $1,000, $1,100 per month, and sorry, per year. And then as you get into the GTA, you can see that the colors kind of change quite a bit. So you see a lot of red in here. So Brampton, this is where I was born and raised, and my car insurance here was very high, especially when I was younger. I was paying over $300 a month for car insurance. And then you get into different other parts of the GTA. So you have some orange here, which is between $1,800 and $2,050. And then you get into the Durham region, and you'll see, so Pickering is the orange. So they're not the cheapest. They sit at about $1,800 or so per year. And that's averaged on one vehicle's kind of car insurance. And it just gives you an idea of the insurance there. So that, but then you go to the like more on the southern side of Pickering, and the rates are under $1,800, so it's about $20 cheaper. So I don't know if that's a deal breaker for you between South Pickering down by the water, or if you want to be more in the central, it will cost you $20 more a year if you do that. I hope you enjoyed the insurance map that I just showed you. So our next point is transportation. And so I'll start with gas, because if you are commuting, this is going to be important to you. The gas price right now, as of August 2020, is sitting at about $1 a liter. So I filled up yesterday at 99, but it was like down a penny, so I filled up. And so that's kind of what the gas prices are right now. Typically, like this time last year, we sat at about $1.20 per liter. So with COVID, everything that's going on, the gas has gotten cheaper. So I'm just assuming once everything goes back to normal, the gas prices are going to climb back up to that $1.20 per liter that we were seeing last year. If you are going to be reliant on the Durham transit system, the costs associated with that would be $3.25 for a single trip if you're an adult, or if you want the monthly pass, it's $117. If you are a youth, so that's between the ages of 13 and 19 years old, a single ride ticket is $2.90, and then a monthly pass would be $93.50. If you are a senior, so you're over 65 years old, a single ride bus ticket would be $2.15, and the monthly pass for that would be about $46. Children under 12 years old are completely free, so that's kind of a benefit. So if you're going to be reliant on the GO train or GO bus, and you were going to be going to Union Station every day, not every day, but 5 days a week for work, the single ride ticket for the GO train or bus is $7.91. And the way they did it, they used to do monthly passes, and I'm not sure why, but they kind of switched it over. So when you are going there per month, they kind of have it where from trip 1 to 35 is $7.91. And then from trip 36 to 40 is $1.07. And then for any trips over 40, it's free. So if you did that 5 days a week for 4 weeks of the month, your your total cost for the GO train per month would be about $316. So it is fairly affordable, especially you don't have to pay for gas. Which would, if you're commuting in traffic all the time, it probably wouldn't be cheaper than that price point. Another option would be the 407. So if you were going to take the 407 from the Brock entrance onto the 407 and typically go downtown, you would take the DVP. The cost for that would be in and around $540 per month, and that's if you had a transponder. If you don't have a transponder, each trip they charge you a video toll charge and then another fee on top of that. So if you are doing the 407, it makes a ton of sense to get a transponder. I think you can pay for them yearly, which is like $24 a year, or you can lease it for, I think it was $3.95 per month. So our next category is actually, it's like considered bonus information, because if you are currently living in and around the GTA right now, it's not going to really fluctuate very much. But if you're coming from a different country, this is stuff that you might have absolutely no idea what the cost involved would actually be. So the first point would be daycare or like Montessori. So the ranges for daycare, depending on part-time to full-time, ranges from $20 to $61 per day. And per week it runs out to be about $100 to $300, and it could be a little bit more than that depending on the type of school you want them to go to, or the type of daycare, or if you want them to go to Montessori. I've been told that Montessori isn't actually that much more expensive than full-time daycare. So if it is something where you are looking for full-time daycare, I would highly recommend that you at least look into the Montessori to see real cost differences for that. Next real pain point, I guess we would call it, is the utility costs. So here we have three main utilities that we would be paying. There is Enbridge, which is gas, and then there is electricity, which is Alexicon, and then there is water, which is Durham Water. So we'll start with electricity. So Alexicon, our bill, and I only reference my own bills because they're going to be in and around the same, and instead of just finding averages, I'll just use really what I'm paying. So for Alexicon, which is electricity, which covers your lights, your washer and dryer if they're electric, pretty much anything that would require electricity, is in and around $100 per month. Now, if you are new to them, they're going to charge you $30 setup fee, and then they're going to also charge you a $260 deposit, which after 1 year you do get back, but it is something that you do have to pay up front. For gas, which is Enbridge, our average bill from last year was $99.70 per month. If you are setting up for Enbridge or you're just transferring your account, they charge you $25 to do that. Our third utility is the water. So in Durham, it's called Durham Water, and our average bill, and the way they kind of do it is they bill you quarterly. So you don't get a bill every month for water. You do get it every 3 months, and ours averaged out to be about $60 per month, which was on average about $240 quarterly, really. If you are setting up your account, it's a $30 setup fee that they charge, and then they charge you a $250 deposit, which again, you do get back after the 1 year. There are ways around to get the deposit waived, but it's pretty much you have to provide a letter or document from whatever water you were using now. So if you are coming from Toronto or Peel or Halton, they would have their own water company. You can go request a letter from them that says that your account is in good standing, and then they will waive that deposit. I didn't do that because they actually charge you to do that letter, so to me it just didn't make sense. Just pay the deposit, get it back after the 1 year. Another real pain point would be internet. So really the main players here for internet is Bell and Rogers, and the average that you see for the internet, which is their fairly quick, like really fast, like about 1 gigabyte per second, and it's unlimited usage, sits at about $114 per month. Now, depending on when you call, they might have different promotions on, but on average, about $114 after all promotions. Another option, if you're looking for something that is more on the affordable side, is there's a company called Tech Savvy, which they charge you $37 per month. It's unlimited, it's not as fast, and you do have to pay to get some hardware kind of upfront, like your modem and such. And that kind of covers off the internet section of it. And our final point would be the average cost for groceries. So I don't know how to reference what the average cost for food would be, so I'm just gonna, kind of the things that you would buy in every country or different cities would be milk and eggs. So milk here is about $4.49 for a 4-liter bag. So I've been told that Ontario and the GTA is probably one of the only places that really gives you milk in bags. In most places it's in jugs and it comes in 1 gallon sizes, where here you actually buy, it's a bag of milk that has 3 separate bags inside of it, and it's completely different. But I was born here, so I'm so used to it that to me having milk in a jug is weird for me. The egg price, we're sitting between $3 and $5 per dozen, depending if you want free range or normal. There's a huge variance in that, but on average between $3 and $5 per dozen. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like button. It lets me know people are enjoying the content that I'm putting out there. If you know of other people that are perhaps considering moving to Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa, even different parts of Toronto or Peel, maybe share the videos with them, because it's just a matter of time before I've covered all of the GTA. And I have people reaching out from all over the world, and I absolutely love it. So if you are looking at relocating here, you can call, text, email, send the 3-eyed fish, which if you've watched my Pickering pros and cons video, you will catch the reference to that. It's a Simpsons reference. Spoiler alert. I guess I should have said spoiler alert first. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future videos.